Hi, if you're a single mom and you hear the words, the myth of the single mother, you are going to be self-righteous and like, nah, dude, this is my real life. I'm actually doing this. So I recently wrote something on Substack called When Mothers Father. And I want to talk about this lie that single mothers, that we tell ourselves that we are weak if we are dependent, that we are really the delusion that we are and have to be all of it and take care of everything. I want you to consider that if the earth was not watered by water, and if we consider water in this context as the man or the father figure or the energy of that, where there is action, there is guidance, there is the light of the moon, right? The water is guided by the moon. There is something to look up to, right? And as mothers, we should be this place where our children can come to our heart and they can kind of fall down on us when they need us. They have that ground to fall back on. But if you are a mother who has to father, and as a single mother, I also would get Happy Father's Day from my son. If you are a mother who has to father, you do not get to be a mother. And there are many mothers who are with fathers that are actually coupled, but they are single parents. So I'm not excluding you, right? When mothers have to father, everything gets wobbly, because consider that the earth just doesn't get rain, that the moon just disappears and the tides are not what they are, and expect the earth to just come up with her own resources and provide for her children. All of those seeds that are dependent entirely on the rain and the moon and everything that is above ground, where a woman is the womb, she's more of the earth, right? If we have to leave our own center as women to be above where our center should be, so we can also be a man, our children actually suffer. And we can tell ourselves all day, and I told myself this as a single mom, I got this, I'm doing this, look, like I'm not gonna mess these kids up. Well, I don't think that I necessarily did, but I know that that dynamic definitely did, and also that dynamic in myself definitely did, as the only person who was actually available as a parent. So when we as mothers tell ourselves, I should be able to do this, I should be able to do this, I can do this. Yes, you can, my love, and you are very resilient. But I also want you to know that your dependency on water is not pathological, it is primal. It is not just the children that need the father. It is also the mother. The mother is the earth. She is the place that they're going to sprout from. She is the ground that they stand on. She's the gravity that they come to. So it is not just when we think, oh, he's horrible because he's not showing up for his children. I think it's also fair to really get to the root of reality and no, it's horrible because he's actually not showing up for the mother. He's not bringing rain. And he wants to be congratulated when he drizzles a little bit, right? He either brings hurricanes or droughts. Imagine the earth. And just think of it from the child's perspective, living at the convergence site, because this is what we make them do when we as mothers have to father. We make them live at the convergence site of the shoreline. And everything we try to do probably gets washed away the second that we do it, because our job is to be the ground. Our job is to be the steady. And a father's job is to guide and kind of direct and maybe discipline. And they need a soft landing, and they also need a launch pad to look up to, right? When they do not have that, we as single mothers go, oh my God, I'm in drought, I'm drowning, nobody's coming to help, which is true. And that's where you'd go, oh my God, the myth is not a myth, it's my reality, right? But I want you to understand, you really are in a drought. You really actually cannot do this in a way that is life-giving to you or your children without the support of the rain, of the father that comes when he knows that it's necessary, right? Where it's not gonna be droughting. And a lot of single mothers don't have that. They have fathers happy to watch them in a drought or come and wipe out them with a flood, but will never come as a perfect coordinate of like, okay, this isn't too much and it's not too little. This actually assists in growth. So you, my love, if you are a single mother going, I can do this on my own, yes, you can, and I'm proud of you, but the truth is you're probably also either drowning or droughting 100% of the time and blaming yourself. But I want you to understand that the Earth's dependency on water for giving life is not pathological, it is primal. And you, my love, are that Earth. So if you feel shame or weak, like, oh my God, this is so hard. Oh my God, I don't have the sustenance I need. I should be able to just grow these things from my will alone. You cannot. That is not based in reality. So you are probably actually in a drought and shaming yourself and wanting to, get rid of yourself instead of making the other party be responsible enough to bring rain, because they're scary, right? If they bring hurricanes, you don't want it. If you know that they're going to intentionally cause droughts, if you try to make them bring a little rain, that's scary. I super get it. But what I want you to hear me say is that you're not weak. You're deficient in reality. And somebody is intentionally, likely, maybe, who knows, depriving you. And you blame yourself for your deprivation and your starvation and your drought. And you blame yourself that the kids aren't getting the water that they need because you're trying to siphon it up from places in yourself. Like you've never even explored caves underground that you don't even know exist in yourself to find these kids water. And it takes away from the soil of both self and them. So hear me. You are actually in a drought. That is the myth of the single mother, to believe that you can just create rain. You can't. I mean, there's something to say for hunting for storms, storm chasing, right? That's probably what a lot of single mothers are used to. Oh my God, I'm running from storms or running to them. So I can't even attend to my children's storms themselves. And that's a reality. That's why you can't be a mother if you're a single mother, because you also have to be a father. And that's really hard because you're trying to be something that you literally are not. And also literally do not have the capacity to be. And when you try to be both, these kids get very washed away in themselves trying to live at the shoreline. Nothing grows at the shoreline because you are living at the shoreline to help them grow, but you belong inside of the earth as their mother. You belong in that gravitational pull of being actually an earthling. The father should be like the moon, that they have something to look up to. If that's absent, they're very likely going to look down on the mother because you're everything, right? So, and ironically, that everything somehow translates into their mind eventually as nothing if they don't have the support of a loving father saying, hey, actually there is sustenance on the ground that is of value, and you don't always have to look up to me. You can actually look down to this being without looking down on them, and that being is your life, but I bring the source for you. It's really primal, guys. There's not that much more to it.